Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Great Northern Retail Forum in partnership with the Giftware Association. Okay, next up we have our main keynote speakers. First of all, I'd like to introduce Matt Hopkins, Managing Director of Great British Exchange. Now, GB Exchange is a new trade-only marketplace organisation buying and selling British-made products for retail. Secondly, I would like to introduce Tom Kerridge. No introduction needed. However, Michelin star, professional chef, and BBC host. So I'm going to step
Michelin star.
Two Michelin stars. Sorry. Two Michelin stars. Absolutely. There. Sorry, two Michelin stars. That's two. I'm going to step aside and let Tom and Matt take aside. Cheers for that, Tom. Appreciate that, sir.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Having spent many years sourcing products from the Far East, I was delighted when I met with Tom and to realise that we both shared a passion for quality and quality products, and that we both had a desire to support British manufacturing. So I'm delighted to launch today our brand new cookware range, which is entirely made in Britain and made from premium quality and designed to last a lifetime. I'm very proud to introduce the range.
Okay, so from my point of view, when you're a chef and you're on the telly and you do bits and bobs, you get approached to do all sorts of things and asked to do loads of different stuff. And for me, the biggest thing that when I set up the Hand of Flowers 11 and a half years ago was everything has to have a reason for it, credibility, foundation for everything that we do. And all of it has been built on British produce and a solid foundation of cooking, methods, and then being able to serve it in a pub. Everything about it is British, and everything that I stand for is British. So when you've been asked in previous years to do, would I do something with pans, would I do something with knives, would I do something, none of it ever felt right because they weren't the right manufacturers. It wasn't something that I could stand there and feel passionate about being able to sit here in front of you and talk about a product range without it feeling like it's just a chef's name stuck on a pan or a knife or an apron. So I've always turned them down and said no thank you. And then I met with Matt and we talked about what we wanted and what Matt was looking for and what I needed from the range. For me, everything had to be about, this is an opportunity for British products, British manufacturing, and it has to be within the same ethos and the same brand values that we set up the Hand of Flowers with. And my first conversation with Matt is everything has to be British manufactured, which for Matt's first point of view was a complete nightmare because it meant that this is trying to reorganise and restructure and trying to find the people that are first willing to take part in this amazing project that's been going on for about 18 months and 2 years now, trying to find these people. But also, it was really important for me that it had to have quality. Everything about it had to be... See, my wife calls it it's tested by Tom is the main thing. That comes down to whether it's a chair or a knife or whatever it is at the Hand of Flowers or whatever, it has to be able to, that I would use it. And that was the key and most important factor of everything that we were trying to do. It needed to be something that, one, felt like it would be something that you would use in a professional space, but then trying to get that crossover into it being usable and user-friendly at home and tactile, friendly, everything that you want, something that you're proud to have. That was, I think, the biggest challenge that I think I gave to Matt.
We wanted to also be honest and transparent about the provenance of the products and where and who and how it was made. And I think somewhere in the room, you can't quite see, but there's some of the manufacturers involved in the project are here. So we started the journey and started looking for British manufacturers who were willing, or believe it or not, actually able to do what we needed to do and to produce a product of the quality tested by Tom and the demands of what a 2 Michelin star chef requires. So we embarked on a journey talking with existing contacts, talking to customer recommendations, going to and visiting the sort of traditional British heartlands of where you would find manufacturing of that sort. So obviously knives, Sheffield, pans, Birmingham, textiles, Lancashire, and so on and so forth. So that's where the journey began. Do you want to talk about the two sides of the story?
Yeah, there are the two different sides to the range that we were looking at. We were looking at, first of all, it needed to be practical and be usable, and be something that I would be very happy to put into the hands of professional chefs. But then at the same point, it needed to be able to be British, have this heartfelt story foundation of something that we all believe in. So it has the same characteristics of the business that we built it on. So marrying and matching those two things together were really, really important for us. So that journey of finding the guys that could actually produce and manufacture the things, every single person that I've met along the way have been, that have joined us on this journey, have the same heart and feel as professional chefs in the kitchen. They touch, they feel, they love, they are creating something. And it's not about it being mass produced and thrown out. It's about every single thing being heart and soul. In a kitchen you produce, we do an omelette dish at the Hand and Flowers, and we might do 30 or 40 of them every service, but every single one is exactly the same and felt the same and cooked the same, and each one is felt with heart and love, and we wanted that kind of feeling to come across through the guys that make everything for us.
So there's the professional hard-wearing, lifetime cookware products, and then there was more of the lifestyle stuff.
Absolutely. So I needed it to be something that works on a professional basis, that would then withstand the rigors of a kitchen, but also be able to then be able to withstand a lifetime at home. But also that lifestyle feel, the range, something that you're very proud of. The fact that the way that they're packaged, the way that it's put together, it's something that you're invited to get. The love and the attention to detail, exactly. That you're then is proud to give away as a gift or as a homeware thing, or something that you would buy as a present for yourself, and that something that you feel it has been hand built, almost like not a piece of art, but something
unique,
that you
almost, yeah.
Exactly, something that's unique.
And as part of the process, we wanted to promote British manufacturing and talk about the manufacturers and talk about the provenance of the products, and include all of that and be very open and transparent in all of our PR activity and all of our marketing and packaging and so on. So our first port of call was our knife manufacturer, Samuel Staniforth, who was steeped in history and proudly been manufacturing in the steel city of Sheffield. And the collaboration with Tom and Chris and Ben and eventually Sean, who also I think is here, started with a trip down to London where Tom examined the knives for the first time.
And told them they weren't right. Like they weren't knives. Quite often the knives that you see in the market, they're in the marketplace, that are in kitchen and homeware shops, are quite often not exactly what a professional chef looks for. They're almost what knife manufacturers are making for the home chef. And there's tiny little things that need changing, tiny little things that the difference between, as a professional chef, the knife that you buy and the one that's sold in a cookware shop is slightly different. For example, the biggest thing and the big difference for me was the heel on the back end of the knife. It's quite often had a big kind of like a block, a safety block on it, so that actually when you cut through, just the difference between a professional and a home cook's chopping action, that knife prevented it cutting as well. The knife blade was be as sharp. So just those tiny little changes that we wanted to make to the knife, the little things that make the difference, that take it from being a beautiful, handmade, wonderful knife that a home cook could use to being exactly the same knife, but just thought of just a little bit different. The filleting knife, slightly thinner metal so that it has a bit more flexibility. So it's a utility knife. It can be used for boning meat and for prepping fish. I mean, the idea of that comes from... So if any of you know professional chefs, quite a lot of us have loads of knives that we've picked up along a journey. I've been a chef for 25 years. I have a box of knives full of them, most of which I've stolen off other chefs when I've left from kitchens. But you kind of go on this journey. But then the reality of it is when you actually set up on a section, you might only have 5 or 6 knives that you constantly use. That full range of having 30 or 40 knives, there's no need for them. Yeah. So it was trying to showcase and find the exact knives that would work for different areas, and those are all the knives that you need.
I think that's also true across the range, isn't it? Because we didn't want to have just an abundance of useless stuff that fills up a cupboard.
No.
It was very much about everything has a purpose and everything has a use, and that's why we created 6 knives. And the attention to detail in terms of even the tomato knife, for example, was a completely...
Yeah, I mean, as chefs, chefs in general are pretty practical people, because we have to be. We have to be able to organise the way that we work, the way that we come in first thing in the morning to the way we leave at night. It's all about time management, because you're always so busy. So there's no point in having lots of different things. So across the range, it was about what do we actually need, what would we use, and what's the purpose of it. And anything else that's a bit faffy, what about a different knife with a slightly bigger handle and something else because it looks nicer? There's no point in it. Let's get the knives that are right, that are perfect for this job. And the same with the pans, the same with the chopping boards, the same with the textiles, same with the ceramics. There's no point in having a huge amount of stuff that doesn't make sense. Let's get the ones right that we would use. Yeah. And that was the whole vision across the range.
And the handles?
So the handles are really important, because this was the bit that... aesthetically,
creative in you came out,
touch, it was amazing. So much of things that you love as a chef is touch and feel and heart and soul, and everything comes across like that into this range. So everybody that makes the ceramics, who makes the pans, is all hand finished. And then the knives, from my point of view, that was a real eye opener when I went to the knife manufacturer, Samuel Sanisforth, and Sean, who was hand finishing the knives. So it's a compressed denim handle, which again, on a lifetime guarantee, the denim will wear and it will use, and it will become I fell in love with the idea of it being like your favourite pair of jeans that you constantly keep wearing because you fall in love with them. They're the best things, they're most comfortable, and it slowly will over time shape to your hand slightly. It will feel like yours, not somebody else's. If you have the same knife and a friend of yours has the same knife, and in 3 years' time you go to pick it up, you would know which knife is yours and which one is your friend's, because it would feel different in your hand. It would shape to your hand, and the way that is finished, each single knife is individually handled, each one is finished. And that took me by complete surprise, because I was expecting to see a machine churning it out, and there wasn't. There was a guy called Sean.
Sean is here, actually.
Is Sean here? Where is Sean?
He's there, look in the cap at the back.
Yeah, Sean in the cap. And for me, it was a real eye-opener, and it was amazing, and it was wonderful to see that there was a guy there who's just like my pastry chef, who's creating each dessert exactly the same each time. Each one's slightly different, each one individual, but each one is hand-finished and handcrafted. And I was really taken aback by that and completely fell in love with that.
Fine-tuned his skill, hasn't he?
Fine-tuned his skill. I don't know how long Sean's... It was about 16 years, if you worked there, Sean? Bit longer.
Sean.
Hey, well done, Sean. Yeah. But it was that feeling of heart, soul and love, and that individual craftsmanship that completely buys into... So Sean is the same as my pastry chef. Jill, who makes the ceramics, is the same as my sauce chef. The same guys that work and touch and feel everything every day, and it's all about the individual product.
So thank you to Samuel Sanisforth. Pans were a challenge, being completely honest. We had some false starts, near misses, complete failures, and they were actually the last addition to the range. However, they were obviously one of the most important categories within the range. We were told time and time again, both Tom and I, that manufacturing had completely gone. Well, they haven't, because we have teamed up with U Group in Birmingham, who fairly recently pulled the Samuel Groves brand back from the brink. And the teams have worked very closely again with Tom to deliver a range of pans that Tom would be happy with. And I'm sure Tom will give you some of the background as to the demands of a pan in a 2 Michelin star restaurant, and there was no getting away from it. It had to pass the test, tested by Tom. It had to be tested by Tom.
But not just tested by me. So the difference is, so a knife is a very individual thing. A knife is something that each chef will buy, something that's different, not only something that's weighted perfectly to their hand, something that they love. Pans are a different thing. They're not necessarily individual. They have to work, and they have to be... They have to work not only to withstand, from my point of view, there's no point in having, I couldn't stand here and say, buy these pans, I use them at home, but I don't use them at work, they're not good enough. And that was the most difficult thing, because the Hand and Flowers is arguably one of the busiest kitchens in the country, where we're doing 75, 80 covers for lunch and dinner every single day, with a brigade of 15 or 16 chefs where every service, where pans are getting smashed about, they're getting battered, everything is very fast and quick and getting hammered. And the pans that we use at the minute are a top or were using, were a top Belgian make, and they were fantastic, incredibly expensive, and they worked with wonderful conductivity. And that was the most important thing, that water would come to the boil. Pieces of meat would caramelize wonderfully. Fish would cook properly and not stick. And the heat was evenly distributed. And we were told time and time again that there isn't a British manufacturer that can make this. So when the pan manufacturer came to see us and started talking about, and these are guys that normally did spun aluminium.
It was twitchy bum time, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
they were a little bit nervous about what I was saying I wanted. I needed it to be stainless steel. I needed it to be dishwasher proof, of course, and we needed to be able to work for induction. So a lot of kitchens, home kitchens and professional kitchens, are moving to induction now. So that it needed to cover all of these bases, and then at the same time, it needed to withstand the pressures of working at the Hand of Flowers. So they turned up with the first trial pan, and we put our pan, a pan of water on, and a pan using theirs at the same time of water to see which one came to the boil first. Their pan won, which I was quite surprised at, because I thought our pans at that point
When
were
you
the
say
best.
their pan, you make it sound like it was...
Yeah, their pans, well, their pans then, our pans now. The biggest thing that happened for us is that I then asked for 15 frying pans, 15 saucepans, and I need them at the Hand of Flowers for next weekend. And then they came in, and then I told all the chefs, and chefs are creatures of habit, and this was the worst moment for them. What we did is we said, you need to take all of your pans away that we're cooking with tonight, everything, you take them all away, and we're going to use these. So for their point of view, you have to remember, this is a 2 Michelin star kitchen where everything is about consistency, where people have booked a year in advance to get to. We have no room for saying, I'm really sorry, we just changed the pans this evening, it just didn't quite work. So it was a really nerve-wracking moment for the chefs. I was actually very confident that this would work. So we threw all the pans out, swapped them over, and then I left them. And then I rang them up on Monday, and I said, how did it go? Was it all right? They said, then they haven't looked back. We haven't swapped back to the other ones. These pans are now our pans. These are being used at the Hand of Flowers every single service, every single day, that chefs are absolutely giving them a right good battering. They're getting thrown in sinks, they're getting smashed about, they're being cooked with, and they are cooking things to a 2 Michelin star level that is consistent as the day that they've turned up there. And that for me is one of the most telling moments of something that I'm so proud of, this particular part of the product range, because I can stand here and sit here in front of you and say that this is something that not only looks beautiful, it works brilliantly. And if you think one of those frying pans might get used 7 or 8 times per service, you might just use it once at your house. So that's 16 times a day that pan's getting used by a chef who's smashing it about on really high heat, throwing it into a sink 16 times a day, a kitchen porter scrubbing it 16 times a day, at least, coming back and being used again and again and again and again. So from my point of view, the strength of those pans is just unbelievable. The way they cook is fantastic, and the way that they operate is second to none. So they are now our pans, not their pans.
Fantastic. We needed anchor products in the range, and enamelware was definitely on our list. And through multiple recommendations, we were introduced to an award-winning manufacturer called Watmore, who are based in Burnley. And what we were most, or partly excited about and drawn to, was the fact that even though Watmore are manufacturing and distributing all over the world, they were still able to produce a product that gave us the quality that you needed, but also the hand-finished look and feel.
So the biggest thing for enamelware with me is quite often you'll get roasting trays, and say you might get some that come with your oven that you've already bought. You might buy extra ones. And a prime example is roasting a chicken or doing a turkey at Christmas time. If when you read the recipe that I've written, Jamie's written, Delia Smith has written, whoever, and you say once the chicken has been cooked, remove it from the pan, the roasting tray, put the roasting tray on the heat, bring it up to the boil, and then make your gravy in the tray. There's nothing, it drives me insane that you put that tray onto the heat over a medium heat, and about 3 minutes into it being bubbling up, it pings. it twists in half. The enamelware is not thick enough, it's not strong enough to be able to withstand that heat. So how are you supposed to be stirring and making lumpy-free gravy on a bent tray? And that was the most important thing that I was saying to Matt. This needs we can't sell this as a homeware range if you can't even follow a home-style cookbook by using the pan and that the enamel tray. And that was the most important for us, is trying to find the thickness, get that right, but also make it look beautiful, feel tactile, and work really well. Yeah. And then thinking about it as well, the way that on the smaller trays, the handles are either side, so you can put them in and out of the oven like that. But on the big tray, the handles move to the front because you can't get your hands in the side by going in. So everything about it has been thought of. So the handle's at the front, so you can pull it in and out of the oven like that. So just tiny little things about making them not only work properly, which is the most important thing, working properly, but also being able to use them, touch them, feel them without burning yourself. And that was really important.
Yeah. And hand sprayed and finished all in Burnley, which is fantastic. The ceramics. This has been a love affair from the start. And it was actually a relationship that was already existing before I got involved. And I actually picked up a bowl when I was in the Hand and Flowers. And I said to Tom, I love these. These are amazing. And you said they're
I said it's lush.
Proper lush.
It's proper lush.
I can't say that.
I said it's lush. Yeah, and they are lush. So I mean, Jill, who makes this round, I came across Jill about 4 or 5 years ago at an event. So Jill was a teacher, and she kind of gave up teaching to go back to her first love of making pottery. Yeah. And she was having a little go at this trade fair of making these beautiful bowls. And me and my wife Beth was walking past and saw them and thought, wow, they're lovely. They're really nice, them. Could you fancy making some for the Hand of Flowers? She was like, yeah, that would be great. So he's entered into this relationship and started. I'm always into supporting small-scale manufacturing, small people that are having a real good go of it, but they're actually making something beautiful that need help, need support. We need loads of plates at the Hand of Flowers. We break loads. So we keep Jill in business at the first bit because my waiters keep dropping them. So we keep buying more and more. But she creates these beautiful, most importantly, tactile and lovely things. And you're proud to serve food of a 2 Michelin star standard in these bowls, but also you have them at home. They're wonderful. It's lovely homeware. And then so when Matt came across and we said we need someone who does ceramics, straight away the first person that I said was Jill.
And she's got a fantastic story. I mean, she was born in St Agnes in Cornwall, and went off to do a degree in ceramics at Wolverhampton University, I think, and then spent 16 years in teaching. And as Tom said, sort of followed a passion and went back to being a potter. But Jill still sources the clay from the St Agnes clay pit where she went to primary school. So there's a really nice story there. So it has been a real love affair, and they are absolutely beautiful, but only manufactured on a very small scale, and that's what makes them very special.
They got a lovely lifestyle as well in Shropshire. She makes everything there, and they got a big outdoor pizza oven, and her husband John does some wood as well.
It's a bit like The Good Life, isn't it?
It is just like The Good Life. It was an amazing place. Yeah. It's kind of about everything that you want it to be.
Yeah, very nice. No phone signal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Textiles. So this was obviously a must. And we needed to find someone who could produce the quality and something unique, but obviously it needs to be made in the UK. So when I spoke to Paul from Lantex, he knew exactly what I wanted, and they specialise in manufacturing. They're fairly quick off the mark to go and find a local weaver in Burnley. And I only found out 2 weeks ago that, and I don't know why I've never found out this before, but we wanted a unique stripe. So Paul had gone off to find a unique stripe and was inspired by Jack Jones from Dad's Army, and which was a fantastic story. But the product is made from the highest quality twill, from stitch to label in Lancashire, and it's a fabulous product.
So the butcher's apron thing is quite important. So anybody who knows the story of Marco Pierre White, the first British chef to win 3 Michelin stars, from my point of view, was a huge inspiration on my career. He always wore a blue and white butcher's apron. In terms of, his quote was, "We are all commis chefs, we are all still learning." And I still wear a blue and white striped apron. I still find it very important that I'm the only one that wears that. Everyone else in my Hand of Flowers kitchen normally wears a Hand of Flowers apron. But I consider I'm still learning. I'm still learning from everybody else there. It doesn't matter whether you're a 19-year-old trainee or someone who's been a chef for years. You can still learn or take something new. So that butcher's stripe, that what it represents to me was something that was really, really important in terms of, I suppose, from a professional chef's point of view.
Even though you're not a big fan of double oven gloves.
No, I'm not a big fan of double oven gloves. I've got to be honest with you. So when that comes to the homeware range, that is something that my mum uses, okay? In a professional kitchen, we don't have double oven gloves because everything is too fast, it's too hard, it's too quick. It's an environment that needs to be hands-on all the time. And you're used to things being hot. Every handle you imagine is hot. Oven doors are hot. Everything is. So we have an oven cloth. And that was really important to me, that we have an oven cloth in the range. But also, my mum doesn't cook like that. My mother-in-law doesn't cook like that. They cook homeware stuff, home-style cooks. And the double oven glove is something that's really important for the home chef. You won't find the chefs in the Hand and Flowers using those. But they do look lovely.
So another partner who's been wholly committed to this project and creating this brand since the very beginning, I was quite frankly blown away when I first found Hampson Woods and met their owner, Jonty, who is a carpenter. He's a craftsman and a genuine artisan. And Jonty and his highly skilled team are committed to quality, and they just simply make beautiful things, don't they?
Amazing. Again, like Matt, when Matt was telling me about him, blown away by his love of wood and how it's made. And you always imagine, those end grain chopping boards that you see there where all the pieces are put together, the strength of those boards, the way that they're made, the way that it's all pushed together, the fact that wood is so solid. Now I don't know why, because I'd never had an imagination of how they're made. I just thought like it's just like sticks of wood that are stuck together in a factory and it's pushed out and then sliced, and it's not like that at all. I was just blown away by the intricacy that each single piece is glued together, it's pieced together like a jigsaw and then set. And the intricacy, the hard work, the love of finding the right way that the grain sits to make it all look beautiful, every single one being hand-built, and the precision that goes into it. Again, for me, sucked into it, just like the knife manufacturers, just the same as that love of somebody's skills, their tactile skills, their vision of making something fantastic. To the point where we're just about to commission Jonty to be able to make the pass we have in the kitchen done at the Hand of Flowers, so the whole new pass is going to be made out of wood, in end grain wood, just the same as the chopping boards.
Stunning, yeah. 10 words, Tom.
Yeah.
that you can say in front of an audience.
So we came up with an idea of sending, so there's 5 or 6 companies that are involved in this whole project, that we all have this same collective belief, whether it's myself and the Hand of Flowers or Matt and the Great British Exchange and everybody else, the manufacturers that are making it. We're all very similar people in that heart, that soul, the reason for making it, the difference of the integrity, the passion, the belief of doing something for the right reasons and keeping it British. So I said to Matt, well, why don't we get everybody to write 10 words down that represent their business, and let's see how many of those words of our 5 companies, 6 companies, match up. How many of them double over? I sent Matt 10 words. I have to be honest with you, I didn't take it very seriously at first. I sent 10 rude words over. Matt sent back and go, no, seriously now. So then I did it seriously rather than joking around. And the words that came back, there were so many that doubled over. There was, 3 that we've got written down here that were the 3 that were most used by everybody was quality, firstly, British, and craftsmanship. And then after that, there was a whole other integrity, honesty, passion. So they were all written by all of us, the same reason. So those 10 words tie us all in to this one collective belief about making this product range that's so important for me. And I know it's got my name on it, but it wasn't about my name being stuck on something. We want that name to represent the brand, what it leads to, We want long-term people to think of that name being a representation of quality British and craftsmanship, of those sort of things. That this is the long game. We're in this for the long game. This isn't a short haul, see how many we can sell across however many places. We want to build a withstanding, lifelong guaranteed branding product that people are very proud to own.
And I think, just in summary, that this is a collection of British designers, manufacturers, craftsmen who have all worked very hard, been very committed, and worked very closely with a 2 Michelin star chef, and extracted some of the modern knowledge and experience from Tom. And we've combined that together to make a new British cookware brand. And we'd like to invite you to come up to DP2 35, and we're happy to talk to Tom and ask as many questions as you'd like, and see the products. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions here?